Oh, hang on. My my game sound was muted apparently. Whoops, my bad. Master got me working. Day's never finished. Master got me working. Someday Master set me free. There's always one stuck on there. That's it. Oh, it's amazing, this new update. Now you can always walk a bit even when you're over encumbered. Like you can always walk. It's like 10 out of 10. Are you fucking? Yes, you are. Okay. Durability, alright. Um. Is my glider in the... Let me check. No. Interesting. Should I? Or should I take this one? Oh, okay. Let's check for dungeons then. market. Interesting. Let's see what you got. Yeah, nothing. Oh, dungeon. How did I get 1 hour? These dungeons are so confusing. Where do I go? I guess this way? Yes. Yes. Follow the water. Excellent. Hmm. That's what I wanted. Refined metal helm. Ah. BRB. Let me just check something.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Today I'll be showing you how to farm the high-grade technical manuals so that you can get a ton of technology points for all your skills later down the line. Now guys, what you want to do is you want to head to Habitat Island number 3 in the top right-hand corner of the map. There is the desert fast travel point that you can travel to, and then you can simply head out on your flying mount and head over to this island. Now, on this island, you will find treasure chests that do not require keys to open, that do spawn in large amounts. And in these treasure chests, you will find your high-grade technical manuals. Now, we do go around the island and I find about 8 of these chests, and out of those 8 chests, I get 5 high-grade technical manuals. That's 5 extra technology points out of these chests. Now, I also get some sapphires as well and some skill fruits, which you can either sell or use for your pals. But there are chests dotted around this island in droves. So it's a really good spot to go ahead and farm up these high-grade technical manuals. Now these chests will respawn as well, so they do have a kind of sporadic spawn rate, but they do eventually respawn, and if they're not respawning, you can always go back to your base and rest for the night. So just by spending not even half a day just on that Habitat Island, we've managed to get 5 high-grade technical manuals, which is 5 technology points. So we now have an extra 5 technology points, so it's a pretty reliable farm. Now you can also set up a power box on these islands to actually fast travel back to them. Now, like I mentioned, you can set up bases over here on the Habitat Islands. All you need to do is set up a power box, which of course I don't have the necessary ingredients for because my inventory is wonderful. That's exactly what I wanted to happen.
It's criminal
you can set up a power box here. You can set it up here at the top, and you can actually just fast travel back to this island whenever you want. It's obviously going to save you a little bit of time having to make your way out here. You will get the criminal activity underway if there are PIDFs spawned in on the island. You can see there, we've got some there, but just ignore them. You'll be at the stage where you'll be able to just ignore them anyway. They won't really do too much damage to you. But then you can simply just begin the process again of going around to each of the individual little spires, seeing if there are any chests there. If they are, open them. Hopefully you get the technical manuals. If not, just come back the next day. It's not really too much of an issue. You can easily just keep coming back to this island, looking around for the chests. I generally like to give it a day or so before coming back, because that normally means most of the chests will have respawned by then. They don't really have a timer. It's kind of just very sporadic and random. But just from doing one sort of trip around, we did manage to get 5 technical points, which is technology points, sorry, which is really good, I reckon. Considering once you kind of hit level 50, there's no real reliable way to get them. Yes, you can try and farm like hoot crates and all the vixens and the hattress and stuff like that, but they only have a 1% chance of dropping the manuals that give you the technology points. Which is why I recommend this island 4 as well, because if you do go around killing any of the mobs or anything like that that spawn on this island, you do have a chance for Lylene to spawn in, and Lylene actually has a higher % chance to drop a manual that gives you the technology points. So she actually has a 10% chance to drop that manual.
Interesting.
Another bloody shiny.
I knew that,
and if you have a
but I didn't know
with
the
you
chests
as well, and use the Blaze Howl to kill the Lylene, that once again increases it once more because of Blaze Howl's unique power skill, where it's able to cause grass type powers to drop more items when defeated. So yeah, guys, this is a very sustainable way to farm up the technical manuals. I'd definitely recommend giving it a go. And don't forget to kill some of the pals on the island as well as you go around, because you do have a chance to spawn in the boss pals and stuff like that. You can see here we've got Shadow Beacon, we had Phaleris a little bit earlier as well. So you also do get the chance for Osirk and Lylene to spawn in up here as well. And if they don't spawn in and you don't feel like fighting, all you need to do is simply leave like render range, and they will despawn in a new pal.
I mean, this is also
so it's entirely
a
up
good
to
way
you how you
to farm technical points. I got 2 again. It's a lot more hassle because the dungeons are fucking... well, the layout's weird. Let's go see if the legendaries have respawned. Days never finished. Master got me working. Someday Master set me free. Hmm. They have respawned. Excellent. recipe. Okay, let's do this treasure chest farm. See if it pays out. What's that green? What's this green? Oh, it's just... Okay, never mind. Let's see. Damn. I mean, it's not what I wanted, but I'll take it. Nope. Nope. Hmm. Okay. I did not mean to kill it. What? Son of a bitch. Uh, why not? More inventory space. Okay. Okay. That's a pretty good spot, I guess. Yeah, fair enough. Let's see. Alright, bushes drop ingots. Hmm. Oh, hello. Stop moving. Well, shit. My camera's bugged. It's better. Okay, let's listen
Just
to
live
some
in life. You just
podcasts.
enjoy it.
The leak stuff is definitely it's very big. I mean, because obviously pretty much every major Nintendo title gets leaked at this point due to the whole sort of like piracy vulnerability, but never seen it on this scale before because the level of interest in this title is just so massive, and it's so odd to be reviewing this under embargo or whatever, while also the entire internet is just full of people's impressions and playthroughs and tips and tricks and all this sort of shit. Like the game is so out, so to speak, because of the fact that of this leak, and it's just
Sad.
very odd to see. But hopefully, if you've wanted to avoid the spoilers, you have been able to. We certainly won't discuss any spoilers in this podcast at all. We'll keep it very clean. My review, which went up earlier this week, is also very spoiler free. I've been very careful about that as well because there are just so many surprises in this, just so many moments, locations, just things that you really want to experience totally, totally fresh, totally unseen, unspoiled. So, hopefully, if you are out there, you did not get spoiled. That is my hope.
It turns out at the end you were Tingle the whole time.
What? Oh my god.
Yes, exactly right. That's thanks, Jake. I just said we weren't going to spoil it.
Well, we're gonna circle back on the Zelda discussion. Oh my god, circle back! Jesus Christ, what's happened to
happened?
me?
What?
Why am I
Oh,
saying
email talk?
No,
You're
I'm
doing
doing
corporate
corporate
lingo?
speak. Yeah, we're
Let's
gonna
take that off. Let's take that offline, Lucy.
we're
Let's take
gonna
that one
blue
offline.
sky this idea, and we're gonna sunset the Zelda discussion for now, and we'll circle back on it next time. But no, we are gonna be talking obviously about all the stuff happening with Redfall because we haven't really talked about it as a group except for in sad Discord messages. And of course, last week Phil Spencer did a great interview with the folks over at Kind of Funny, so we will be diving into that. And then Ralph, you can regale us with some spoiler-free tales from The Legend of Zelda. How's that sound?
Yes. It sounds like a pretty rad episode, can I say? If I was a user, I would stay for the whole duration of the show. Just saying.
Yes.
So yeah,
We need
Good
the
pitch.
users to stick around for the show.
we need high user retention.
Yes.
All right, who wants to start with Redfall?
boy.
Oh boy.
I can-
Okay.
I can
yeah.
go.
Go on.
I did a preview for it a while back. Like I played a preview in like March or something, and I was like, "This seems, you know, you only play it for like an hour, hour and a half." I was like, "This seems like okay. Like, there's got to be more though." That was my thing. I was like,
Yeah.
there's got to be something here. Like something is missing." And then when I played the final game, I'm like, "Oh, this is the whole game. Oh no." My biggest issue is that it's kind of not very fun. I know a lot of people are rightfully concerned about the poor state and the glitches and the bugs and everything like that, but that stuff can get fixed. And ultimately, for me, it's like the fun factor element is not there, and that's what I like come here for. You know, it also was just a bummer because Arcane, big fan, but it didn't click with me with this one. It's just like it feels like there is something missing, like from like a reward feedback level. I mean, maybe it's just like the lack of engagement with enemies, the skill tree that I didn't really find very enticing by any means, with some things that like you don't want to unlock because they significantly change things in bad ways. Like what the
Yes.
so there's a lot of things that it's like it feels like weren't really thought out, and it kind of felt like as a player, like my time was kind of being wasted. And I never usually have this attitude, but I kind of felt like as I was playing, well, I'm like, well, like if you're not gonna care, then like why should I? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, to piggyback off your point about
Why are
you
you
know,
both
time being
stuck in
wasted
the
and
house?
things not
God
feeling fulfilling.
damn it, German
I'm a
died.
huge Arcane fan, and I went to the same preview event as you, and I came out of it thinking like, oh, okay, it's them trying something new. I felt the same. I thought there's got to be something else. There has to be a reason why they started us an hour or so into the game. There's got to be a reason why we didn't see that opening. Turns out it's just because the opening's pretty boring.
Yeah, there is no opening.
There isn't really
You
an
just
opening.
suddenly appear, on a boat.
Yeah, and so when I was playing it, and the thing about playing video games is I can forgive a lot of foibles, right? There are things that even in Dishonored 2, which is one of my favorite games of all time, that I don't particularly like, but I forgive because the rest of it, the whole experience is so good. The thing with Redfall is that it had a really bad first impression, or even worse than that, it had a nothing of a first impression. There wasn't a splash, there wasn't really anything enticing to get me into it. And then all of the things that usually would be annoying that I would forgive, I just couldn't, because there wasn't enough good feedback to drown out like the negative stuff that I was experiencing. So for me, when you're implementing games as a service style things like a weapon tier system, for example, well, it's not good because you can only carry 3 guns, and there's a certain enemy that can only get killed if you have a UV gun that isn't really actually good enough to carry around the whole time, but you can't create a loadout. So every time you come across one of those stupid little stone guys, you have to go in, manually swap the weapon out, and then go back in. That's frustrating. That's annoying. End of every mission, having to go back to the safe house. Annoying. I get what you're doing. You're doing the Destiny thing of wanting to come back into orbit and reevaluate and do stuff, but when you're in this open world, which is empty as fuck, it's frustrating as hell. Like, I don't want to go all the way back because I know that I'm just going to warp back to a safe house that's closer. That's probably where I am right now, because I can just resupply there, or I can resupply just by looting a bunch of stuff. Like AI is pretty dumb in Dishonored, but I love that because that is a stealth game, and I want to be the person who's outsmarting the AI. It's part of the push and pull of those games, is getting one over, using my smarts to overcome them. In this, they are so stupid that I was like, this isn't even fun. This doesn't even feel fair. And then, you know, you get the story, which isn't really hitting for me at all. There are some cool things in there. You know, the stuff with the daughter for the Hollow Man and everything.
There's some cool lore, like, in
Cool
there
lore.
somewhere.
There is.
But ultimately, it's just like, oh. I mean, Ralph, you and I were talking. I wish I had the screen grab of it, where I was talking to Ralph, and he was like 10 hours in. I was about 6 or 7, and I said, "Oh, I'm just about to take on the Hollow Man," and Ralph goes, "Is that the first boss? Oh no, is that the last boss?" And I just, and yeah, you said, "Is that the last boss?" And I just went, "Oh, mate." Mate, he's the first of at least 4. And just Ralph, no.
At that point, I was so done with the game. I was like,
Defeated.
please let that be it. No, because I was on the first map, and I didn't know that there was a second map, and I was so over the game by that point. When you told me that there were like 4 more bosses or something, plus a second map, I'm like, oh my god, please no more. I can't handle this. And then eventually I just didn't end up finishing the game because, as I said in my review, I'm like, well, if a developer can't be bothered to finish their game, then why the fuck should I? Do you know what I mean? But so, yeah, I mean, look, did you play it, by the way, Gerard? Right.
No,
smart man.
I was pretty convinced by everyone saying not to play it. That there's just some games where everyone is just so loud that you just have to go. Yeah, sometimes my optimism just isn't gonna change my mind in that way. Because I am that guy that would go in and be like, you know what, guys, hear me out. Redfall's actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
But I think I watched enough people play it. I watched enough people talk about it, the discourse around it. I even considered, you know, I don't do it very often, but on my channel, I sometimes will purposely play games that are a blunder just to really see what it's like for a completionist to experience. And I don't know. I felt like I did not have enough in me to want to try to play the game to see if I can contribute to the conversation that everyone else is saying. If everyone is saying the same 8 to 12 things that are wrong with it, chances are I'm going to probably be saying the same things. And I don't know. I felt like by the time I finally got around to, you know, really getting a chance to play it, I just was like, I think I'll just wait for Tears of the Kingdom and get ready to submit all of my free time to that very soon.
Oh man, you could have been like me and still get yelled at just because like there are like some good ideas or like rough things deep in the game that like I couldn't help but like point out and like
what though? Like what are you finding?
So I just
good?
like the idea, the whole like Salem's Lot, New England town thing. I think like there is parts of a good town in there.
Sure.
I also thought that like the vampires and the vampires created by science is cool. I think a lot of the types and concepts of vampires are cool. When it comes down to the actual encounters of them and the way it plays, no. But like stuff like that, I like there may be somewhere something. I have a question for you guys though. Because my first impression of the game was like, oh, it's great that you can play it single player.
Bingo.
But it seems like a lot of these abilities are better with other people. Did you guys feel that or see that through playing the full game? Like, were you bored with your character's abilities, really?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
No, there's no question at all that these characters should not have been designed that way. They, you know, if you'd have combined all character kits into one character, you would have had an actual character at that point. But what they essentially did was, take one character's worth of abilities and then divide them up into 4 people, and such that like the kits just don't work on their own at all. Like the stealth character, for example, he has a raven that can mark targets and later on can also damage them, which is very contradictory. And it also can turn invisible, and he's got like a sniper rifle that he can pull out as like his ultimate or whatever. That's his whole kit. That's all he's got. It's so boring. It's like, what is going on here? You know, and the skill trees don't do anything to augment that either. So clearly they had envisaged that you would be playing this game co-op and leveraging all of those abilities together. But I wouldn't want my friends to play this. I usually play co-op games with some guys that I play Destiny with. And as I was playing it, I'm like, nah, man, I can't inflict this on them. Like, I can't ask them to come and play this. No, I'm not going to do that. So I didn't. I haven't played a single second of it co-op because I didn't want to, basically.
I also don't want to because that's not how I play.
Sure.
It's an arcade game.
Of course.
But it's also, I mean, even genuinely, like, I don't play that many games co-op. I think the last game I played some co-op was Darktide, which was really fun. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm an adult. And it's really difficult to schedule getting people together. I mean, maybe it would be easier if I didn't have a full-time job and stuff that I do outside of work, but like it's hard to get people together. I love arcade games. I love that feeling. And the thing is that throughout the marketing, always promised you can play this alone or you can play it with a group. And ultimately, I don't think the single-player experience really delivered an experience. It felt like a fragmented part of an experience, and that's why it was even more kind of disappointing for me. Because, I mean, even when you play a game like Borderlands, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but Borderlands is the similar vibe where it's two main abilities and then an ult.
Sure, yeah.
But then I feel when you get way more variety with guns, obviously. What is it, over 1
Grenades as well.
Grenades too, and then I feel that the skill tree actually augments those abilities in meaningful ways, which, as we discussed, does not happen in Redfall. And so it's really sad to see these kind of like trends from other games get picked up and then not implemented in a way that is fun.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I want to say this in the very respectful terms, okay? Because I really do genuinely respect Arcane. I definitely respect the work that game developers do, and I've definitely try and put that out there as often as possible. At the same time, like, Redfall feels so amateurishly designed. Like, it really does just feel like a first pass effort at these ideas with no effort to actually playtest them or finesse them, refine them, whatever. And it's kind of like, if this was from a small indie studio having a first crack at a game like this, I'd be like, yeah, okay, fair enough. I see you've got some ideas. But like, this is one of the best developers. They are known for how sophisticated their games are, how polished and refined they are. It's like, how do you go from that level of quality to this, making such basic, obvious mistakes? Like, and I guess my point with all of this is certainly not I'm not targeting people. What I'm saying is clearly there was some systemic, cataclysmic event that took place during this development cycle that resulted in this. Like, clearly something went very wrong at that studio to create this situation where this game came out in this way. Because these people are very talented. They know what they're doing, obviously, right? So how is it that they arrived to the point where none of that talent was leveraged properly and these very basic mistakes happened, and then all of it just went through to an actual release? Do you know what I mean? The behind-the-scenes development story of this game would be so fascinating to read. I don't know if we'll ever get it, but it would be fascinating because this team worked for what, 5 years on this game? Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, that's very puzzling. That's very, very puzzling. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Follow the water.
That's very sad.
Yeah.
Works
like,
every time.
Gerard, go on.
I was just gonna say, as someone who has been a part of an organization that was extremely poorly run and exploded underneath my feet, and then was left to be the public-facing figure of the outcry of the creator, I have no idea what you're talking about, Ralph. Everything should have been just fine. So,
That's the tea.
I think at the end of the day, it's one of those things where, and this is the stuff that people won't remember, or the stuff that people just forget or purposely ignore because it is games, is that there is a large minority of people. I say large minority in this essence of like they sound larger than they are. There's a group of people who are celebrating the failure of this game and enjoying the idea that this game is so poor on launch, and they see it as a big L for Microsoft and Xbox fanboys and a big W for Nintendo or Sony. And I just think that way of thinking is just it lacks so much humanity and compassion.
Oh,
and empathy.
yes.
We're not going to know what that story
6
is
points.
for a while.
Sure.
But you can see there's developers from those studios who
Nice.
are on Twitter, and they're just like,
Yeah.
hey, we're trying to pick up the pieces, we're trying to move on. And you look at their replies and their mentions, and yeah, people are just dogpiling and having fun with their dunks, and it's like, it just sucks. No one wins. No one won with this situation.
Yeah, that's it. But I think it's especially sad as well, because I think we've had like flops like Anthem or Fallout 76 and whatever. And I think a lot of those games were very cynically driven in their motivation. It's just like, it's pretty clear that they wanted to have, you know, a looter shooter in Anthem that they could monetize with battle passes and skins and live, like this, that was it. And so it was kind of like, well, we don't have a lot of empathy for that kind of thing. Fallout 76 was obviously a similar thing, right?
Yeah.
But I think
16
with
times the
this,
detail.
I mean, maybe there was earlier in its development the vision that this would be some kind of, you know, like live service cash machine for Bethesda. I don't know. But certainly towards the end of its development, it wasn't that. It was just an honest game that doesn't have any microtransactions at all. It's just trying to be a fun game to play. And I think that also makes it sadder, and you know, it makes it harder to, because it's almost like, well, you tried to make just a good honest video game and it didn't work out, and that makes it even more of a bummer. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
It's-
just a really shitty situation.
It's rough. The only thing I would say is for like, especially with what Gerard was saying, it's go ahead, like jump in the mud. It's fun to like, you know, not fun, but like I get it's tempting to just like revel in the negativity and read all the reviews and stuff. And I think that some of that is good depending on like how you engage, like actual critical reviews. And I think takes like that on bad games are important because it helps educate you as to like what you do like about games and what you do want from your games. So, you know, not to like Ralph kiss your ass, but like good actual criticism where it is explained why it is not good or not enjoyable or what doesn't work is just so much more valuable. So continue to seek that out. Like I get people are like, yeah, negativity, let's read. Read up by all means, but like there is something that can be learned, something that can be extrapolated from this.
Definitely. And I think that's something that I'm very self-conscious about when I don't know what it's like for you guys and how you approach it, but I'm very self-conscious about that when I review stuff because, you know, I don't, because people are like, oh, you shat all over Redfall, you tore that game apart, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, that's not my intention with that. And I was very careful in that review to be like, I'm just going to show you the game. You know what I mean? And like, and you know, obviously I have some fun with it along the way. I have some jokes, of course, because like we're making a video here. Like, let's just enjoy ourselves for a few minutes. But I think the overall tone I was trying to go for was that like, this game is not good. It's sad. It's a bummer. You know what I mean? Because I definitely want to try and couch criticism in the right way. I think there is a way to thread that needle. It's tough. Yeah. I've definitely got it wrong in the past on many occasions, and I'm sure I will again in the future. But it is something that I try and keep, you know, in my view as I do stuff. I don't know. Do you guys approach it the same way?
Yes.
I mean, yeah,
definitely.
I don't review. The one major game I did review for GameSpot was Persona 5, and I enjoyed the experience for sure, but it's definitely, you know, you are putting yourself out there as a critic, and your voice, for better or for worse, is amplified because you are delivering a verdict on a game. And I'm a person who is incredibly anxious, and I don't like negativity, really. I was genuinely, so when the Redfall embargo lifted, I tweeted out my impressions, and I was genuinely late to meet my friends because I was just sat there overthinking what I was even just going to tweet out, because I knew this game was going to get a kick in. You know, from my experience with it, from talking with you guys when we were playing it early, I knew I was going to get a kicking, but then at the same time, you kind of have to balance, and, you know, as we all do, we are people in the industry that people want to hear the opinions of, or at least, you know, people message me and go, hey, what do you think of this? And so it's also important to have criticism, especially, you know, good faith criticism, and you are, at the end of the day, contributing your thoughts towards an art form that warrants criticism, good and bad. And so it's a very delicate.
What the fuck?
No, it is definitely, yeah, absolutely. It's definitely something I think about a lot, and also you think about more about as your audience gets bigger, you know, and
Oh, yeah.
and you know, you think about how am I using my platform, and that's something that I've definitely become way more aware of in the last, you know, as I've sort of grown as a content creator, my audience has grown or whatever. I think that's very important to me.
And like I said, like you can't, like you said, you can't be like 100% perfect with it every time, like
Yeah.
how you want to set out. But I know for me, I started making a conscious effort. Specific, I'm always like Mr. Positive, and like I always try and find the good in games. And some people like absolutely hate that. But like when it is a game that I just downright do not like completely, and can't find interesting things about it, I think one of the first ones was Anthem, where I made a conscious effort where I was like, this video, my notes will have, it will never just throw away something with the word trash. It will never just say,
Sure.
this sucks. Like, I will have reasons to explain why. And all power to people who can comment and be like, this game's trash. Like, that's good. But like, I was like, I need to do more, explain more. And because, like I said before, there is a benefit to understanding what works and what doesn't work for games for you.
Sure. Pivoting back to Redfall specifically, do you guys think that Arcane should stick with this, build it out, get it humming, or do you think that they should move on?
Move on.
Yeah.
Not to
FPS,
say that
please.
it is beyond fixing,
Jesus.
but I don't know if the No Man's Sky redemption story is there for this game. And I think Arcane's talents are better put to use where we know they work. And it feels weird saying that because obviously, like we said, people spent 5 years of their lives working on this game. It's come out and there was a commitment to extra characters and maybe extra content. But I don't know, sentiment, you know, that's going to be a hell of a PR job, like spinning it when any of the new stuff comes out to make it, you know, because are the major sites going to re-review it? Like, Ralph, would you re-review it?
I mean, I have re-reviewed stuff in the past, like the Wastelander update for Fallout 76, for example, and I'm like, look, I still think this game sucks, but this is a decent update that adds some meaningful stuff to it. There's no doubt about that, right? And similarly, you know, if Redfall was to go through a big development thing, and actually, I haven't re-reviewed No Man's Sky. I've only done that once. But like, yeah, if it was to go through a big development roadmap and arrive at the other side of it, absolutely, I'd take another swing at that. But similar to when I encountered Anthem, I was like, people are like, oh, this is really, you know, it just needs some updates, and it's gonna. And I'm like, no. Anthem is so far gone. Flying around as Iron Man is cool, but the core of this game is like not there. It's just not, you know. Right. And to get it to the point where it is there is gonna take like 2 to 3 years. It's not gonna happen because EA is not gonna have the stomach for that. And sure enough, they didn't. Like they flirted with the idea, but then they moved on. No Man's Sky, it's like it had this concept that was immediately so like, yeah, absolutely, we need to, and it had some ideas and things going on. Like there was some stuff there you could see how it might get there eventually. You know what I mean?
You could see the potential.
Full credit to the team for sticking with that as well. With Redfall, man, I just feel like there's just nothing there. I mean, I feel like, and I know it almost seems like an exaggeration, but I just think there's nothing worth salvaging within this experience. I really don't, and that's a bummer to say. But, you know, this is like a 4 out of 10 game. Maybe Arcane could work for a while to get it to like a 7 or something. But even that would be a massive amount of work. This game, it feels like it's still in like it's... I cannot see this game needing any less than 2 to 3 years of work to get it to be something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I really hope that Arcane just move on from it. Phil Spencer has said that they plan to continue to work the game and build it out. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. Yeah. But I mean, I don't see that personally. I just think it's time to cut losses, you know?
I love a comeback story. I love being wrong. I love being like, I love being like, No Man's Sky kicks
Kim Kardashian
ass, you know, like, but with this one, it goes back to what I said at the start.
God damn it.
I just didn't find it fun. I know fun is a very like particular thing to different people, but like, I think the game needs to find the fun, and I think that takes a lot more than just adding new side quests or fine-tuning the shooting.
I think to your point, Ralph, about No Man's Sky is that the concept was new. The concept is different.
Yeah.
Whereas the concept in the heart of Redfall is, you know, Tam and I talked about this in Spot On last week. It's like Redfall is like the epitome of chasing a trend, and this game went into production at least 5 years ago. And you're chasing trends from 5 years ago. And so to change the game... And it's you know, part of the reason why people are so pissed at the way Suicide Squad is looking. Again, it's like trends from 5 years ago.
True.
To change it to be something palatable that doesn't feel like retreading old ground with regard to games as a service stuff, there's a ton of work needs to be done. And so
it just depends on if the director of the game, and it's not all on them, but it just depends if they see value in finishing the product that they delivered. If the team at Arcane wants to see this game the way that they want to see it, then I want to see it. If they have just been so defeated and they see the conversations and they see the talking points and they see everyone just shitting all over them and it deflates their motivation, then like don't put them through that hell. Let them decide whether or not they want to finish the game, and you know, let the L's hit the floor and we move on. But you know, I mean,
what the fuck? That is so awesome. It's like
L's
a serious somber moment, and then you're like, let the L's hit the floor.
I was being dead serious. The fact you guys are laughing, I'll take it.
love that.
No, I'm sorry. Your point is.
Your point is 100% correct. It was just that phrase that really like. I was
incredible
like,
that's the voice clip for you. But look, I think a lot of us were like, Cyberpunk's not gonna get better. Cyberpunk is DOA. It's gonna be better.
But Cyberpunk had, you know, it had 9 out of 10s at the time. There was still Cyberpunk was this
What the fuck? What did I just watch?
Wave, like it was inescapable. There was no way. And you know, they CDPR have this track record of supporting stuff. Like Witcher 3 was, I mean, at launch, come on, it was not the game that we remember as The Witcher 3. That came later. And so I don't think, you know, I don't think that audience is there for Redfall as much as it pains me to say it. Like I was on the VGC podcast and they were saying that Arcane makes games that game journalists like, but that the regular audience doesn't buy. And I was like, fuck you. Okay.
Sure.
So
I think my point just kind of was that I don't think any game isn't redeemable. I think anyone can come back. If we have things like No Man's Sky and Cyberpunk, you know, obviously Anthem was just it kind of immediately it was gone, but I think there's room. I think there's room for and whether or not they rechange the entire game or if they just do their bare minimum processes, I say let them give them a shot if they want to. If they don't want to, like I said, let the L's hit the floor.
Hey, this podcast is sponsored by Raycon. If you're looking for earbuds that are really good but come in at about half the cost of other quality wireless audio brands, he's got you covered right here. These little handy dandy headphones are great, and personally, I've been digging them because I don't know about you guys. Like, do you guys lose stuff constantly and just break stuff and ruin stuff?
I actually don't. It's one thing that I'm quite proud of. Like I feel like I hold on to things, but yes, I do.
Okay, so you know, look, you're perfect. That's great. Good for you. But me, I lose stuff. I break stuff. I am ultra forgetful. So Raycon has been really good because, you know, the mainstream wireless audio companies, like, it's expensive stuff. But with Raycon, you got enough to have multiples, have spares, and they got all the features you need.
That's right, Jake. They've got features like noise isolation, custom ear tips, water and sweat resistance, and they have up to 8 hours of playtime. Personally, I like them because they stay in my ears. I have giant ears that are hidden by these cups, but believe me, they're very large. And people used to make fun of me at school, to be honest with you, and call me Jumbo. It's a thing. But the good news is that Raycon earbuds actually stay in my ears. They're one of the very few earbuds that actually do that, and that is one of the many reasons that I use them.
yeah.
And it's pretty straightforward. They have 2 years of product protection insurance for just a few extra bucks, free domestic shipping, flat free international shipping, and they have over 50,000 5-star reviews online. So there's a lot to go on.
And they are super easy to set up too. Like, I was amazed. Like, I got them connected to my phone with no problem. I got them connected to my PC, no problem. Super easy.
I like that they're the little capsule small as well, because some of the other stuff that I've used, they're like really large, but those actually
Right
fit
in
into
the
your
pocket.
pocket quite nicely, yeah.
So go to buyraycon.com/friends today to get 15% off your Raycon order. That's buyraycon.com/friends to score 15% off. buyraycon.com/friends.
So Big Phil Spencer himself was on the Kind of Funny Xcast, and woo, what a week to do it, because the CMA said no to the Activision Blizzard deal, and yeah, Redfall launched to not a great reception. So I was genuinely amazed that he even went through with it.
Me too. I mean, if there was ever a reason for a CEO or a boss man to, you know, to quit out on something, like because of the news cycle, that was the week to do it. So big props to him, but also big props to Kind of Funny, I should say, for, like, you know, because I think Phil obviously trusted them to be able to handle it correctly, which they did. And I think, yeah, the way that they actually asked questions and drove that conversation forward, like, I think they really nailed it. So yeah, big shout out to Kind of Funny for that. They really crushed it.
I was there on the Wednesday, like a few hours before they were recording with Phil, and Snowbike Mike turns to me and goes, "Lucy, if you could ask Phil Spencer anything, what would it be?" And I was like, I don't know.
Good luck.
Like, why? And I think I just said something really stupid, like, you know, a non-question, and Mike was like, "Oh yeah, we're talking to him in a couple hours." I was like, "Oh shit, okay."
yeah,
I could have
right.
used that context, my guy. But no, it was a really good interview. Did not shy away from the tough topics, and Phil certainly didn't really shy away in his answers. And so I guess we'll kind of go through some of the big points. I mean, first of all, it was weird to see a dejected Phil.
It was a bummer, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you're
he
not
even
supposed
said,
to
like,
as a
partway
boss, right?
through.
Like you're
Yeah.
supposed to just always do like confidence and always kind of spin it around.
Yes.
And like even the best like of these types of media trained executives can usually still wiggle it around back around to being on message, where this was pretty candid.
Well, also he even said, you know, like towards the end of the interview, I think the kind of funny guys were like, oh, on a more positive note, and he was like, sorry, this isn't positive, Phil. I'm gonna be grouchy. This is, you know,
Yeah.
kind of like outwardly said it. And so, kicking things off with comments about the Activision Blizzard deal. Obviously, a big issue. Well, not issue. Big thorn in the side is the CMA saying, nope. Not the Country Music Awards, but
Damn.
yeah. What does this CMA stand for again?
His Majesty's Consumer Markets Authority.
God, please don't
It's
remind me
His
of the
Majesty.
Oh, it's so
fucking
weird. Yeah.
coronation.
It's His
Oh my god,
Majesty's.
change the movie to On His Majesty's Secret Service. It doesn't sound the same.
Nowhere near as cool. Nowhere near.
God.
Did you enjoy the coronation, by the way, Lucy? I assume you tuned in.
I slept.
Oh, we're doing this.
Come on.
Yes.
I
we're
was-
doing
no, no,
we're doing
I-
coronation
so-
commentary.
So I went out on Friday. Some of my friends were over from the UK. I had them meet some of my friends from the US. There is a bar here in San Francisco called Cozy Car, which plays. First of all, the floor is copies of Hustler that they've like lacquered over, right?
Cool.
The benches, like the booths, one of them's a bed. One of them is like a bunch of car seats. One of them is a hot tub that's cut in half. And then on the walls, they play horror movies, and then at random points they intersplice it with adult movies. We went there, we got messed up, and I slept through the coronation.
Well, I'm sure you missed an old man getting a new hat.
It kind of reminds me
looked at-
of the, because I watched it because I'm a weird freak. It kind of reminded me of the beginning of Conker's Bad Fur Day, where it starts with him frowning on the throne, and it's that slow panning shot with him with the crown on his head, and it's a little crooked, and
Oh.
he's just
You're
sitting there like
wondering
me.
how I got here.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, and that was what he the frowny prince or king rather looked. I also don't know anything about this stuff, but I know people have strong opinions. I just like the television show The Crown. That's all I got.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
I just enjoyed one tweet, which was, calling the coronation of a 74-year-old man once a lifetime thing is crazy. Like, speak for yourself. I'm young and sexy. I'm going to outlive both him and his very bald son. I have 3 coronations in me. You all stay safe, though.
That is a great tweet. It
Unbelievable
deserves to do
tweet.
well.
I
Anyway,
genuinely like.
What were we
what were we
talking
talking about?
Phil
What were
Spencer,
we-
CMA.
Conker
Phil
Bad Fur
Spencer,
Day.
rough
That's right.
day, Conker's Bad
Rough
Fur
day for
Day.
Phil.
No.
Consumer
Right.
Markets Authority, consumer, right? Is it?
Yeah, Markets Authority. Yeah.
So King Charles was like, I'm having none of this. Anyway, no. So
I'm
Phil remains confident that Activision Blizzard is going to go through. I think there was stuff from today, recording on Wednesday, that the EU rumors are abound that the EU is going to approve it. Yeah, I mean it's probably going through. I can't wait for us to never
But I
talk
mean-
about it again.
It's like, but will it though? Like, because again, if the British don't approve it, it doesn't go through, and it's like they have made clear that they don't want it, and
In
and
its current
Microsoft has worked
Format.
in its current form.
state.
Microsoft has signed multiple agreements with cloud service providers around the world, 10-year agreements. They've really gone to like meet regulators as much as they could, it seems, on the issue of cloud, and it still has not been enough for them. So I think we've all predicted for a long time now, oh, it will go through. But I don't know. I don't know that it will. I'm not saying that it won't. I'm just saying I don't think we can really predict either way, because it just seems like the British really have they have a bee in their bonnet, as they might,
very
might
good.
say.
Are you saying the British are being difficult? Couldn't be us.
Oh no,
Oh,
absolutely.
no, couldn't be us.
You guys are such an affable people.
But yeah, I mean, so he commented on that at the very start, but then I think the real meat of the discussion was just that Xbox has not been performant lately. So I mean, kicking off early on again, disappointed and upset with himself that Xbox fans are losing confidence. Mentions, oh yeah, the 30 FPS issue with Redfall and the critical response to the game. Mentions the IGN thing, which I found very, very interesting. The way that he said that, you know, Xbox didn't necessarily support Arcane enough, didn't get it as involved in the project early enough. But there was the comment about the fact that when IGN did their first, and they already knew internally that the game was not going to hit 60 at launch, but on console, but did not say that to IGN. And so,
Yeah, well, that's right, exactly. And so, because what he was saying then was that they were showing 60 FPS PC gameplay when they knew that they were going to be shipping 30 on consoles, and they should have told people that. And it's like, okay, cool. Yes, absolutely, for sure, absolutely. But at the same time, we still don't know whether or not Starfield's going to be 60 FPS. And like, it shouldn't be a thing that we're excited to find out. Like, whoa, I can't wait for the big Starfield reveal. Are we going to get 60? You know what I mean? It should just be a thing where they fucking say this game is going to be this. And Phil and his team would know that at this point. And it's like, you're holding us in suspense while also saying, oh, we shouldn't have held you in suspense about that. Do you know what I mean? It just, that part I didn't like at all. I think that was not great. So,
well, there's also the, like, not to be too cynical about it, but there's also like the come around from this where that can eventually be a win for them. Like, they can go on stage and say, ladies and gentlemen, 60 FPS, and everyone's going to be like, yeah, you did it, Todd. We love you, man.
Great jacket. But no, I mean, the other part of the whole conversation with Phil is that a point that he kept coming back to was the fact that Xbox have not been good at communicating their plans, or they have been communicating stuff like, you know, last year at the Summer Game Fest showcase, they said all of these games are going to hit in the next 12 months, and a bunch of them didn't. Like, we just got the Silksong delay, and they said, yeah, we messed up on that. And, you know, being, you know, they acquired all of those studios a few years ago, still waiting for that stuff to hit. We're still waiting for Avowed, for Fable, for Perfect Dark, for Gears 6, and the Xbox community, and Phil was saying, you know, they're getting frustrated and they have every right to be, which is very, very candid of him. But I mean, the thing that I thought was very impressive was that he was like, this is on me, which was, you know, very, very good. Man's been taking his leadership training courses, you know.
Exactly. I mean, he could have sidestepped it a bit, but I think if he'd have done it any different, he would have looked kind of like a dick. But also, I don't really think he's acting. Like, I think a lot of people think Phil Spencer is just like a performer, and you know what I mean? Like, he just tugs at heartstrings and whatever. But like, I think Phil actually cares about video games. I don't really think like Bobby Kotick gives a shit about video games. You know what I mean? Like, I really genuinely don't. I think they're an investment vehicle for him. But I think, you know, Phil Spencer, like, you see him talking about this industry, you see him out there, you see him playing games, like, you
see
know,
him
like
getting
he's out
all
there
the achievements
on
in
Xbox
Vampire
Live,
Survivors.
getting achievements.
He's playing a
Do you know
little
what I
bit
mean? Like,
too many games. It's a little suspicious.
But I mean,
what
like,
is he, the completionist?
He's
Phil, you can't acquire me, Phil. I'm too expensive for you, buddy. Be a useless IP, but hey, I'll join the Xbox family if you got enough cash.
But you know, he genuinely cares about video games, I think, and yeah, it is a bummer to see him sort of you know, laid so low in these moments. But yeah, you're right. He did own it. He did own his part in it. And he did sort of say, look, we need to do better. I know. I thought one thing that I thought was really interesting was that they said they did mock reviews for Redfall, and apparently the title's like double digits lower than what the mock reviews
Who did they use?
were.
Yeah.
Who did they use? That's what I would like to know. Like, I've always been so interested in that process for internal mock reviews and like how that goes. That'd be so interesting.
There's a company that like Hit
I know
Detection
them.
specifically does
Hit
it, but like
Detection.
they are so NDA, like you will never get anything out of
Sure.
any of them. But I'm also like
Sure.
super
We're trying-
interested in it because it just seems
Dude.
like what a job.
This black box. Yeah, yeah.
We should get one of them on the pod.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Why did you score Redfall an 80 in your internal
Were you trying to
review? What's
prank
up with
them?
that?
Like-
That's right.
What version of
Oh,
Redfall
man.
did you play?
Yeah, yeah.
One of the things that stuck with me was he did kind of mention rethinking some of the process in terms of how they interface with game studios and stuff. He didn't go as far as like he did still manage to say that like they still want to just let creative teams do their things. But like it's just kind of made me think. Like I've always looked at with the more recent Microsoft, I guess the Phil Spencer era Microsoft, as being nice guy company, where it's like consumer friendly moves. You can have this on this platform. You can stream this for free. You can do this. You can do that. Hey, studios, make whatever game you want. So now I'm starting to just hear all this stuff, and it's like it feels like all the dominoes toppled at once with this, and I'm like thinking, I'm like, is that just the nice guy approach not working? Does Microsoft need to get a little more mean and like wrangle things? And when he did say a little bit about like changing some of their processes, like I'm curious to see what that could actually amount to.
I mean, personally, I think it's important to I have a view on this personally, right? I think that overall, I'm a fan of where Xbox is at and what it's doing. I'm a fan of its strategy. And I think in particular, I've been a fan of its releases for the last little while. I mean, like Hi-Fi Rush, Grounded, Pentiment, obviously
AOE?
Forza.
Easy.
Say again,
On
sorry?
console? AOE? Age of Empires? On
Yeah,
console?
absolutely. Like there's a consistent track record of solid releases there. Obviously, they're not AAA bangers. They're not the system sellers, whatever else, but there's a consistent track record of quality, and I respect that, right? I think the problem with Redfall was that it was just such a cataclysmic failure of quality control and design, and clearly like so many things were not lined up correctly to assess this product properly and put it out to market, that it really kind of just shakes your overall faith. You're like, well, it all looks fine on the surface and it seems like we're okay, but if something can go this wrong, then maybe it can go this wrong again for other big hitters like Starfield, for example. You know, and I think Halo is a different category of failure, is a strong word, but like Halo has stumbled post-release, whatever, due to its update cadence, due to a variety of factors. It's not quite the same. It's nowhere near the same as something like Redfall, right? But seeing all the good work that Xbox has put in and seeing all the successes they've had, I think the problem with Redfall, it's just a confidence shaker, because it was that level of bad that you're like, well, what's really going on? If this can happen, like, are things really as good as we think they are? Kind of to your point, Jake.
Do you guys think that this candidness really... I don't know how to phrase this question. Almost like, do you think this candidness really can move the needle? Or is this more just something for the hyper-obsessed news gamer crowd? I just don't see him going on CNBC or something and talking like this. Which I guess is maybe good that he is going down to the ground level and speaking to the actual, like, hardcore weirdos, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
No, I think you're right. I think ultimately, I mean, so we also had the Microsoft earnings. We saw how much Game Pass is pulling in, and yeah, there's been a dip in hardware sales, which is worrying, but in terms of actual subscription stuff, like Game Pass pulled in a bill in the last quarter. So it's like, he doesn't need to be necessarily speaking to the shareholders at this point. He needs to be talking to the audience, because the audience is ultimately going to feed into what the shareholders care about, which is going to be money. And so this is the point in the life cycle of this news cycle where Phil needs to speak to the consumers, the community, the gamers, the little weirdos on the floor, as you call them. But ultimately, like, now Xbox needs to deliver. Like, we can, we're all aligned that, oh God, aligned. What is the matter with me? Why am I talking fucking corporate speak? We are all in agreement that, like...
You work for a corporate company. Of course you're going to be in the zone.
Oh God, I've started saying tagging X for Viz now, so
Is that for visibility?
Please never do that in our Discord, please.
I'm gonna.
We'll ban you from our Discord.
So this is the point where Xbox needs to start delivering, and obviously the big things in the immediate horizon for Xbox, the Summer Showcase, which is part of, or at least Summer Game Fest adjacent. Obviously, no more E3 anymore, but all eyes are going to be on Xbox in that showcase. The Starfield Direct, and then come September, Starfield itself, which is going to be, Phil said, the quote was, they were talking about being third place in the Xbox One generation. We lost the worst generation to lose, the one where everyone started to build digital library of games. Now there is no world where Starfield is an 11 out of 10 and people start selling their PS5s. That's not going to happen. very interesting kind of statement.
That was some wild shit to hear, man.
That
Yeah.
was.
Like,
It was
just-
very wild.
I'm not a console war guy, but I was like, whoa.
What do you guys think he was saying then? Because I've had some interesting discussions about this. Like Gerard, for example, have you seen that? You've seen that quote?
Yeah, about how
Yeah.
he's like, no one's like, the sentiment being like, no one's gonna buy an Xbox essentially, or they can't really come back, right? Like considering
Was that
like,
what? Yeah, that's. Yeah, how are you hearing it? Because I've definitely seen some different interpretations around the place about that quote, and some people are like, he's throwing in the towel. Some people are like, that's not what he's saying. How are you sort of interpreting it?
I think he's just trying to be as real as possible. And this is coming from a guy who's not been the biggest Xbox guy. Xbox is and always will be on the bottom of my console preference list. And this is not, I think I got paid by Microsoft once to promote a game for Game Pass last year. That's the most of my in-bed relationship with them, right?
Right, okay.
If you will. I get the vibe that he's just going, look, we know that it's going to be a struggle to come back. We know that we're not going to be able to move the needle like everyone wants us to in this console war establishment that's been there. And the expectations is too much, especially for something like Starfield. Everyone's just going all in on Starfield all the time. They have been since the second it was announced. They have been with how little we've seen of it. Everyone is still on the Starfield train. And I think it's him just going, it doesn't matter whether or not you're going to pick up an Xbox for Starfield. It's not going to change anything. It's at least that's the way that I interpret it. And maybe I'm just completely wrong in that.
For me, I got it as very much him backing up what else Xbox has been doing, where they have been focusing on building up like the library, all the online stuff, the subscription model, all that stuff. It to me sounded like reiterating like, we know we can't beat Sony at X or Nintendo at X, so we're going to continue to just beef up our other interesting shit, because that's what I guess technically does make them different and stand out a little bit. I don't know if that's what I got from him saying that.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment, Jake. I think Microsoft is trying to do what Nintendo did a couple generations ago with the Wii, which is we're just going to zig when everyone wants us to zag. And I think that's the way that I see it with Game Pass. Game Pass, for whatever you feel, for better or for worse, has done a lot for indie developers and for even second and third party publishers who are struggling to get funding. The idea of Game Pass is phenomenal, but we've talked about this several times in this podcast, that the games just aren't always there for us, right? No one's gonna, Game Pass for PC with Game Pass for Xbox is two different SKUs technically in the way of getting distribution in the game lists, but it's all about a value buy. And so to me, they're trying to build a economy that is its own Netflix system that doesn't require you to worry about if you have a PlayStation or a Switch. And I think that to me is what he's trying to do. Is we're not trying to focus on the third party competitors anymore. We're just trying to do what Xbox does. And I think what Xbox does is the question mark at hand, because I don't think they even know 100%. Game Pass is the beginning. xCloud's kind of a fun thing, but like that's why they're trying to do this Acquisition Blizzard thing, or the Activision Blizzard acquisition. They're trying to figure out what Xbox does.
Yeah, I think that Phil and his team have a vision. I think it is about more than just the console. I think that's the point he was making in that video, in that interview. I do think there's been a lot of people sort of twisting his words. I've seen a lot of commentary around that to sort of say that it's over for Xbox, and Phil's throwing in the towel. And I don't think that's what it is.
I don't see that happening.
I think this guy has also been talking about the importance of great video games for a long time now, and people really seized on this quote where he's like, if we just focus on great games, then that's going to move the needle. And he was like, well, that's a great grab if you just focus on that. But what the broader point was that great games alone will not be enough to keep Microsoft competitive, and that's why they're doing the zig as everyone's zagging, as Gerard said, right? They're opening up a new methods of playing and new approaches to ecosystem. So I like it. I like Phil. I hope that he rallies after this and stays in the chair, because obviously people are always like, "Oh, what's going to happen with Phil?" I think he'll be around. I think he's delivering, and hopefully Starfield really, really crushes it. Because I think if Starfield doesn't, we're in for a long period of discourse around Xbox and whatever else. But if Starfield is really great, I think it's definitely going to make people very happy, make them feel very comfortable, and be like, okay, cool, great. I really feel vindicated by my choice to invest in this ecosystem. But in absence of that, there's going to be a lot of hand wringing, I think. So yeah.
I want to reiterate too, like I like talking about these interesting, weirder aspects of Microsoft, like their unconventional approach to all this, and what Phil is saying here. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I do fall to now I'm starting to get bored of all this talk and all this baseball, and I do just kind of want some games. Yeah, I've been waiting with bated breath for Fable. I've been wanting to see an inch of State of Decay 3. So I'm starting to just be like, okay, I just kind of want to see stuff and not hear talking and words, because I'm sold on all that stuff. Like, I get that Xbox is doing it different.
True.
So now I just want to play some video games.
Yeah, that's very fair. Totally agree with that, for sure.
Cool.
That being said, Phil, come on the pod.
Come on, Phil.
Come on, Big Phil. We won't call you Big Phil. We promise.
Phil,
Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil. Is that
Uncle
better?
Phil.
Is that better?
We have a radio host. We have a radio host in Australia called Ugly Phil. We promise we won't call you Ugly Phil either. So that would be nice. So are we going to say, Gerard?
I was just gonna say, Phil, come on the show. We're not gonna attack you.
We're nice. Promise.
We're nice.
You guys are nice.
Yeah, Ralph goes.
Ralph was like,
You guys.
Clear. At least Jake, Lucy, and I will not attack you. Ralph, not
I
so
will not
much.
attack Phil Spencer. Come on.
I don't know, man. Hold on. That is a great title for that podcast. So
I'm
let's
not gonna attack.
I will not
Let's
attack
not-
Phil Spencer.
I will not attack Phil Spencer.
I will not attack Phil Spencer. Bracket clickbait.
That is good.
Will
That's
not
very
attack
nice. I like it.
We have a change in lighting over here, which means a change in topic, apparently. I know I'm not as good as Jake at segues, but I am working
He's
on
the
it.
master.
He is the master. I hope to learn. I am his Padawan. The Diablo 4 Server Slam is happening May 12th to 14th, so that's what?
It's now. It's live.
It is right now. God, putting that out and Tears of the Kingdom weekend. Bold again.
It's a bold move, Cotton. A bold move.
Let's
Bold
see if it plays out for
strategy.
him. It's basically a pre-launch test of the very first chapter of Diablo 4, and it's basically try and beta again. Just try and break our game, or try and break our servers. So, are you guys gonna delve in this weekend?
Yeah, I will actually. Because I played the beta actually before the original beta, because they did like a closed whatever for content creators and media. But there was no Necromancer class, and I'm all about the Necromancer class, so that's available now. And I'm actually just really optimistic. Optimistic is not quite the right word. I'm hopeful for Diablo 4, because I think obviously there's lots of reasons to be skeptical about any Blizzard release these days for a variety of reasons. But I really love Diablo. Like, I really do. It was one of the most important games for me growing up. I used to sit there with my best mate when I was in like year 6 or whatever, and we would just play Diablo together, and I would always control, and he would just kind of watch. You know what I mean? And I'd always be like, do you want to play? And he'd be like, no, I'm happy to watch. And we would just literally sit there for hours just clicking, man. That was it. So yeah, Diablo was very important to me, and I really do love it. And I'm, just hopeful that they managed to land it. I'm also interested in the idea of like a live service Diablo. Obviously that comes with a lot of risk on the money side of things, for sure. But there could also be the upside. Like, if they don't take the piss with the microtransactions and they manage to deliver a good cadence of new content, then that's good. That's great. I'm okay with that. Diablo just feels like a great series fit for that kind of, game update style, update rhythm. So yeah, man, I'm keen. I'm excited. Are you guys playing this weekend or just waiting till full release or what?
So what is a server slam?
It's
It sounds like
basically-
a wrestling thing.
A stress
It's basically
test.
an open beta, and they're inviting everyone to log on at the same time, and they're like, please break our servers because,
Yeah. Okay.
as you
That's
would
cool.
remember, Diablo
Oh.
3,
What was it?
Error
Error
47.
30. I was about to say error 34. That's
Error
47 is
34, not quite loose, but if you Google that, you will find some interesting errors. So
It was error
Yeah,
code
no.
37.
yeah, error
So,
37.
look, any online game is gonna absolutely shit the bed when it comes to day one. Like, whatever. The question is, do you shit the bed on day 4 or 5? Because if you're at that point, then there's a real problem, right? It's always going to take one of those opening days for things to wash through. But if they manage to pull off a totally silky smooth launch and everything's happy, then, fantastic. Love it.
As a huge Diablo 2 nerd, I loved Diablo 2 as directed, by the
I
way.
don't know.
You guys...
You're a
I didn't
I
know
didn't
you
know
were
you Diablo
big.
2.
Oh yeah,
That's cool.
Oh yeah.
Diablo 2 Resurrected has been my wind down game. I come home every day, and I am trying to get the platinum on PlayStation 5, which is really hard because you have to get level 99 on both hardcore and on regular. And I'm very close with on the regular playthrough, but hardcore I haven't even started. And I have Diablo 2 is probably the most amount of time I've spent in any one franchise, let alone game. I've probably
Yeah,
spent
you have talked about this. Your hour count's like
yes.
insane.
yeah,
right?
Wow.
Yeah.
At this point, I probably, no joke, spent like 7,000 hours of my life playing Diablo.
Holy shit.
It's
Fuck.
which is hilarious because I think I spent maybe 40 in Diablo 3 and then went back to Diablo 2. I'm very excited for Diablo 4. I think doing this server slam is a great idea to just crash everything. I don't know if you guys feel the same way though. I have had a hard time enjoying Blizzard products just because of all the stuff that's been going on, and it just feels so weird. Like, I remember when Diablo 2 Resurrected came out, I was like, hey, any of my friends that grew up playing Diablo 2 want to play? And everyone was like, no, just because they're bummed about everything going on over there. And so I and same kind of with Overwatch, right? But at least with Overwatch and this, they're learning their lessons, I hope. Because I remember Overwatch 2 came out and everyone couldn't even play the game. And so here we are now, and hopefully this server slam will allow us to get all the bugs and kinks out of the way so we can enjoy the game when it's fully released in June. So I'm gonna wait until release.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm
makes sense.
not gonna play this weekend, but that's only because I'm going to my friend's house and we're gonna do a Zelda pajama party where we all, like 6 of us, are just gonna
Exactly.
play Zelda in the same room
That is
together.
going to be so fun because there are there are lots of games that are fun to watch while other people play, and or to play, to play collaboratively with one person controller in hand and everyone kind of pointing and yelling suggestions. But this has got to be one of the best games ever for that, for reasons that we'll talk about. But that will be fun. You will have a great time because this game is just tailor-made for exactly what you're about to do.
I'm very
For sure.
excited. Well, enough about Diablo. We're gonna go to a user question. Remember, if you have any questions for us, go to, and I think I got it, contact@friendspersecond.com.
Boom! Nailed it.
You are the better
first
host.
time
Nice
ever.
job.
It's only
Yeah.
first time in what 18 months? No,
We
12
win.
months we've been live with that inbox. First time someone has managed to remember it other than me. This is huge. This is huge, massive.
I'm coming for your job. So we have a question here from Ross. Gerard, do you want to read it?
You got it. Rosk asks, in your opinions, what is the best game that never got a sequel and absolutely should have? We'll start with you, Jake, if you've got one ready to go.
Oh boy, yeah. The easy answer, the predictable answer, if you guys watch me at home, is Freedom Fighters. Freedom Fighters was a fantastic game made by IO Interactive in their prime, in between the earlier Hitman games. You are a New York City plumber where New York is suddenly raided by the Soviets in an alternate history, man in a high castle type thing, and you basically slowly become a freedom fighter, progressing from just like guy with a gun to hardcore revolutionary with long hair waving an American flag with an AK-47 and it's like kind of little like real time like you get units, you send them and command them. It's a third person shooter. It's an actually really good representation of New York with music by Jesper Kidd, so it's incredible.
Oh, right, nice.
But that's my easy answer. My other answer is kind of a cheat, sticking with the whole Xbox theme. Crimson Skies. So there was like Crimson Skies for PC, and then there was High Road to Revenge for Xbox. And I wish there was another one after that because like it has lore. It's in this cool like Sky Captain World of Tomorrow-esque like alternate 1930s. And it's just a game where you fly around in a plane and shoot stuff, and we don't have a lot of those anymore.
Yeah, true.
So
Everspace.
yeah,
I mean, well, it's a space sim though. It's like
that's
sim,
true.
But like whatever. But yeah.
And the newer Chorus or Corvus.
Yes,
I want to play that. I haven't had time to
true.
play that.
It's apparently pretty decent. I've heard good things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on
Game
PS
Pass,
Plus,
is
I
it not?
think. Or like yeah,
Oh, I
one of
thought
the
it's Game Pass. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think it's on one. It might be on one of the PlayStation tiers. It might be in the game
All right.
library.
Yeah.
PlayStation Tears of the Kingdom. Sorry.
Oh man.
All right, Ralph, what's yours?
All right, so mine's a bit different. Like, I would say it doesn't really fall into this category, but I would just say we're never going to get a Guardians of the Galaxy game sequel.
Yeah.
We're just not, okay?
Oh shit.
And it's
Damn
so
it.
sad, right? It is so sad that that is never going to happen because that was such a fantastic game. I mean, obviously the game side of it people had mixed opinions of, but the way that was written, how perfect that was. Everyone's like, oh, you know, James Gunn has delivered like the best sci-fi trilogy or whatever, you know, in the last 3 decades or whatever. I'm like, okay, cool, but have you played the video game? Go and play that, if you know what I mean. So I'm sad that that's just never gonna be a thing. It's a very, yep, it's a bummer. It's a big bummer. So
There's always the Telltale one. Go play that. It's okay.
I haven't actually, I haven't played that. It's okay, is it?
I only played the first 2 episodes.
Okay.
Star-Lord looks like a cigarette. But it's okay.
I forgot that existed. Actually.
Yeah.
So did I.
Holy shit.
Um,
Telltale made a lot of
They
great
did.
stuff
did.
back
They made a
then.
Game of Thrones game.
Yes.
Oh,
right?
that
Like, I
was
totally forgot
Potato
about that.
fucker.
Star-Lord does look like a cigarette.
I'm gonna Google this. Gerard, what
That's
was
my way of
yours?
describing people too. I apologize.
Yeah,
I'm gonna-
right.
I'm-
It's-
Sorry,
Hang on. I need to find this here.
Bloody cold today, isn't it? Seems to keep getting colder. They say it'll be a short autumn.
Oi, fuckhead. You might be new here, but you're in my spot. So move. I'm not moving. Wrong fucking answer.
Most of you will be dead within the year.
Frostfinger and his bloody speeches.
If you want to survive in the Night's Watch, listen close.
You know why I got sent to the wall?
The wall was erected over 8,000 years
Why?
ago to defend the realm.
Had this
from
girl I
wild
used to fuck now and
White
again.
Walkers.
Face like a queen, tits like a whore. Turned out she was married to some lordling.
Over 700
He tried to
feet
stick
tall,
me with
stretching
this.
for over 300 miles from the Frostfangs of the west to the Bay of
I
Sea.
stuck it in him instead.
There are 19 castles.
So next time I say move, you'd best fucking move.
Shut up for once, will you?
What's your problem?
Watched by the bridge.
I'm sick of Finn bragging about all the girls he's fucked.
Grey guard,
And what dire crime are you here for?
Fucking potatoes.
the night
Potatoes?
Queensgate, Castle Black,
You?
Fuck potatoes. What? No! I stole them. That's what got me sent to the wall.
Nobody cares, thief.
Don't call me that. My name's Cutter.
Carter the potato fucker. There's one for the songs.
Some will be sent
Oi,
to East Watch.
my sister was hungry.
I've got something for your sister.
Fucking talk about my sister, alright? Will you stop arguing?
Who in seven hells is talking back there? Tuttle. Who was it?
You're looking at the wrong recruit, sir.
So it was someone else then. Not wise to point the finger at your new brothers, Tuttle. Garrett Tuttle here wants to be a ranger, so we can go north of the wall and die on some wildling spear. But what he wants doesn't mean shit. So today you're all gonna show me what you're made of. Can you swing a sword? Shoot a bow? Are you strong? Those who do well might just survive. The rest of you...
Frostfinger. I need a word.
Go on, get started.
Best of luck.
I'm gonna be the, I know we technically got a sequel, but I still want to go back to that universe. I would love a proper Super Mario RPG sequel. I want to know what happened with Mallow and how he's a prince, and I want to know about if Gino or Geno, for some of you out there, and his plot, and Smithy, and I want to know, especially now that we are at that point in our lives where we've all accepted Bowser as like not just the bad guy anymore. He's just the fun-loving, charismatic character that happens to show up
Be the boss of Nintendo.
Be the boss of Nintendo, and sometimes be racing against you in a cart, or play as your doubles partner in tennis. Who knows?
Sure.
But yeah, Mario RPG proper sequel. That's what I'd love to see.
That's a good answer.
That's great.
This doesn't count because they announced the sequel, but I don't believe that this game will ever come out. Beyond Good and Evil. I don't think.
Oh yeah, right.
I mean, but also, I want an actual Beyond Good and Evil sequel, not
Sure.
whatever the hell that trailer was for Beyond Good and Evil 2. But also, I think Enslaved was a really, really cool concept for a sci-fi world, and I really enjoyed that game. And there was DLC for it with the kind of like uncle character. Was it Pig? Because Uncle Page was Beyond Good and Evil, and there was the pig guy in Enslaved. But I really loved that world. I really loved the characters Monkey and Trip. And obviously it was like written by Alex Garland, so it was a genuinely really cool, well thought out world. I would love to see that. So I snuck in another answer, but wasn't right.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to sneak in one more. Bulletstorm. Okay, bye. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Kill with skill,
Sure.
baby.
Yeah.
I want to see Lawbreakers brought back, man. I'm disappointed.
Hey,
like,
listen,
Cliffy
you
B
know-
was teasing us with that, and then it just turned out to be a nothing burger. I'm disappointed, man. Yeah, make it happen, Cliffy. Come on.
Come on,
Come on.
Cliff.
Come on.
All right. Just after the break, we will be discussing. I forgot. Legend of
Tears
Zelda.
of the Kingdom. Oh my God, you did not do
No,
that on this
so-
week of all weeks.
So I remembered. You know the Homer Simpson. Every time I learn something new, it pushes something old on
Sure.
my brain. I learned the email address. I forgot the biggest game of these.
I forgot. That's right.
So we're going to be talking about Ralph's time with Tears of the Kingdom after a quick word from our sponsors. Yeah.
This podcast is. Sorry,
Sorry.
Luce. I'm trying to do a thing here, Luce. I'm trying to shout out our good friends PayPal Honey. Okay, can I please do that, Lucy?
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, thank you. All right, this podcast is brought to you by PayPal Honey. You guys probably already know what Honey is. It's been around for a very long time now. I discovered Honey years ago, well before they approached us for a sponsorship. It is a browser extension that allows you to find discount codes instantly, right? So you know how you go on a website and you go shopping and there's a little box that says discount. You're like, oh, I really wish I had something, or I wish there was a website or something that had a big list of discount codes that were active and I could just drop that in, get some free money. Boom. Honey is essentially that, but without having to go to a website to find the discount code, right? So if you have Honey installed in your browser, you literally just like click one button. Honey will automatically search for coupons. It will drop it straight into that discount box. It will apply the discount, and that's it. If there's a discount code available, obviously. But it's super simple, and it has saved me hundreds of dollars over the years. Because when I do online shopping, I just click the button, and then Honey's like, "Oh, by the way, I just saved you $50." I'm like, "Wow, thanks. I guess." What's the catch? No catch, because it's a free service as well, by the way. So I don't know. I like Honey. What do you guys think? Do you guys like Honey?
It kind of makes it like a game. Like it's a little like addicting when you go to buy something. It's almost like you try,
How much-
at the end.
how much
let me
money
try
can
and
I
add
save?
buffs. Yeah. It's like let me try and like debuff this price a little bit.
Yes,
you know?
it is. It does feel like you're like hacking when you actually manage to find. It's like hitting the jackpot, like pulling the slot machine lever and then seeing, and you're like, yes, save $50. Let's go. That is the power of Honey to be able to do that for you. It's free to install, free to use. If you'd like to check it out, please visit joinhoney.com/FPS. That's joinhoney.com/FPS. There will be a link below in the description as well. And yeah, just start saving money straight away. It's honestly as simple as that.
This podcast is also brought to you by podcast favorite Athletic Greens, back with their all-in-one AG1 formula. Now, if you haven't heard, their mission is to empower you to take ownership of your health by building a simple daily routine. Just one scoop gives you over 75 vitamins and minerals that give major benefits like better skin, hair, mood support, and boosted energy. Now, a bunch of us obviously take AG1, Athletic Greens. Ralph, why do you take it?
Well, I hadn't actually heard of it before they reached out to us because, I don't know, I just hadn't. But then, as I said earlier, my brother is really into the whole green smoothie thing because he's like a vegan and whatever. It's a whole thing. And I was like, green smoothie's a bit much for me, man. I don't know. But I respected the routine. It's just that I really couldn't handle doing a green smoothie every day. So I tried Athletic Greens, which is just basically giving me many of the same nutrients that green smoothie would have. And I'm really liking it. Like, it's basically just part of my routine now. I'm not going to tell you that, like, I feel a million times better, but I just like knowing that I've started my day, because it's the first thing I do before I, like, eat anything. I have it first thing in the morning. I just like starting my day knowing that I have done something good for my body, given that I'm probably going to spend the rest of the day doing something very bad for my body, just sitting around playing video games all day, right? So it's nice to do at least one good thing and tick that off at the start of the day.
And not a lot of prep either. You know,
Yeah.
you take a scoop with some water, you shake it in a thing because they send you this cool little bottle, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're looking for an easier way to take supplements, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/friends. That is athleticgreens.com/friends. Check it out. All right, welcome back. Let's have a little chat about some of the new releases from the next week or so. Ralph, I'm going to throw it to you.
Yes. Lately, last 2 weeks in terms of releases, we've had Age of Wonders 4 on PC, which I've heard very good things about. I've had lots of people actually message me, and some people even email me. That's when I know a game is really good.
That's a big deal.
When I get some people specifically emailing me. Now I'm worried that actually what's going to happen now is a lot of people are going to email me about games. But no, really, people are really passionate about a game and they really wanted to get more spotlight. They emailed me and they're like, please review this game. And I'm like, I would like to, but I only have so many hours in the day. Age of Wonders 4.
4X one, right?
It is a 4X one. Age of Wonders 4 is definitely falling into that category where people really love it. The reviews are all very positive. It's selling great guns as well. So it's definitely a very triumphant return for that series. There was Redfall, which we have all spoken about a lot. Hogwarts Legacy arrived for last-gen consoles. I haven't checked the Digital Foundry thing on that yet. I'll be interested to see how it runs. Darkest Dungeon 2 hit PC on the 8th, and that is meant to be very solid. It's quite different from the last game, apparently. The dev team's been working on it for a long time now, like maybe 5 years at least. And it's all 3D visuals now, where before it was 2D. But yeah, it's definitely landed very strongly. On that yet, I'll be interested to see how it runs. Darkest Dungeon 2 hit PC on the 8th, and that is meant to be very solid. It's quite different from the last game, apparently. The dev team's been working on it for a long time now, like maybe 5 years at least. And it's all 3D visuals now, where before it was 2D. But yeah, it's definitely landed very strongly. This one's for you, Luce. Lord of the Rings, Heroes of Middle-earth. It is an EA-published mobile game that seems to be one of those gacha games, I think, maybe with Lord of the Rings characters. Can I interest you in that? Are you down, or what do you think?
You come to me in this, the month of Gollum, to talk to me about some gacha shit.
That's true, actually. Forgot about the upcoming Game of the Year contender, Gollum, of course.
Forgot about Lil Smeagol.
Did you just see like the requirements, the PC specs for that? If you want to play it at 4K with ray tracing on, you need an RTX 4090 and you need to have DLSS enabled. And I'm just like, dude, I know. And I'm like, I have seen video of that game. You must be having a laugh.
I better be able to see his fucking pores.
That's right. Exactly. And the only other release this week is a little known title from a small developer by the name of Nintendo, and they're releasing this thing they're working on called Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. That is out right now, and as I said, people are probably just playing it right now while listening to us bang on. So appreciate hopefully we are enjoyable second monitor viewing for you during your adventures through Hyrule. Yeah, well, first of all, I guess we'll say gonna play it really close to the chest with spoilers, and there's a lot of stuff that I just want to talk about now, even though I'm sure a lot of other reviewers will spoil it, right? Again, I don't want to say they're spoiling the game, by the way. I think it's perfectly fine to talk about a lot of this stuff within the context of a review,